kids. In today's session, you are going to learn about determinants of elasticity of demand. There are many factors which determine the degree of price elasticity. They are availability of substitutes, proportion of consumers' income, number of use of commodity, complementary between goods, and as well as time. Availability of the substance. If close substitutes are available for a product, that means for the tea, for coffee is the one of the substitute. Okay, then the demand for the product tends to be very elastic. If the price of that product increases, buyers will buy its substitute. If the tea's price it increases, the buyers will buy its substitute, the coffee. Hence, fall in its demand will be very large. Hence, price elasticity will be larger. For salt, no close substitutes are available. Hence, even if price of salt increases, the fall in demand may be 0 or less. Hence, salt is price inelastic. Proportion of consumers' income. Which spent if smaller proportion of consumers' income on particular commodity, it may be X. Price elasticity of demand for X will be very smaller. For that only they saying the same example, salt alone. Salt, people spend very small proportion of their income on salt. Salt only it will cost 10 rupees or 20 rupees alone, isn't it? That means we are spending only little income on salt, but which is very useful for the human life, isn't it? Without buying, anyone can able to find any person there. Without buying the salt there, no, we can't able to find like that type of the person. So salt will have small elasticity of demand or inelastic. Number of uses of commodity. If a commodity is used for greater number of uses, its price elasticity will also be larger. For example, they are saying about the milk. It is used as a buttermilk, curd, ghee, and for making ice cream too. Hence, even the small fall in the price of milk will tempt the consumer to use more milk for many purposes. Hence, milk has a greater price elasticity of demand. Complementary between the goods. Already I told about the petrol and car, ink and pen, like that, isn't it? That is the complementary goods we are saying. Along with the petrol, lubricating oil is also used for running automobiles. Here they are saying about the lubricating oil and petrol, both only used for the car. And here a rise in the price of lubricating oil may not reduce the demand for lubricating oil, isn't it? The rise increases, for how I am saying, if the rise of the petrol if increase also, the car, those who are having the car, whether they won't use the car there? No, not at all. Those who are going to purchase the car alone, what it will do? They will stop there to buy the car, isn't it? If the rise of the petrol, rise of the price of the petrol, isn't it? Same like that only. But what he is saying, the lubricating oil, the price if it increases also, if one person is using the automobile, when he is using the petrol, along with that petrol, definitely he should purchase the lubricating oil itself, isn't it? So, that definitely it won't reduce the demand for the lubricating oil. The complementary goods here, lubricating oil will be price inelastic like salt. Time. In the long run, the price elasticity of demand for many goods will be larger. This is so because in the long run, many substitutes can be discovered or invented. The demand is generally more elastic in the long run than in the short run. In the short run, bringing out new substitutes is difficult. Now, suddenly we can't be able to bring the new substitutes. For the tea, we know coffee. If the both the products, if the price rises, what will you bring the new substitute there? It will be very horrible to us to bring the new substitute in the short run period. Okay, if the long run period means definitely we can find any substitutes there. Due to that also the demand of the product it will be raise or decrease. Measurement of elasticity of demand. How you can measure the elasticity of demand? The percentage method they given, isn't it? That means through the percentage we can find this one. Here they given EP equal to that is the elasticity of price equal to delta Q by delta P into P by Q. Actually here the multiplication symbol it will come in between them. It is also known as a ratio method. Why we are saying as a ratio method means without P by Q we may write as a percentage of delta Q by percentage of delta P. Here the percentage of delta Q is change in demand and the percentage of delta P is change in price. Next, total outlay method. Marshall he only suggested that the simplest way to decide whether demand is elastic or inelastic is to examine the change in total outlay of the consumer or total revenue of the firm. How much the consumer is purchasing there, otherwise how much the income of the firm. Through that also we may find the elasticity of demand. Total revenue equal to price into quantity sold. Price, how much price there, that only here given in the tabular column. See here, that means price of the product 150, quantity demanded is 3, that means the total outlay is 450. Okay, if the price of the commodity it decreases to 125, the quantity demanded it increased to 3 to 4. Okay, then the total outlay is 500. These both are less than, what is that one? Elasticity demand is greater than 1. Elasticity demand is greater than 1. Next, again the price is going down, that means to 100. Then the quantity demanded it increased to 5. Here also same, that total outlay is same 500. Before also 500. That means we should compare with the previous one. We should compare with the previous one. When we are comparing with previous one, here 500, 450. 450 is the first elasticity. Okay. Then it increased to 500. That means the elasticity of demand is greater than 1. Then here previous one to this one, what both are same, isn't it? 500 and 500. That means both are equal. That means equal to 1. Next, again the price of the commodity is decreasing to 75 and the quantity demand is 6. Here again what is the price is 450. That means for previous one is 500, but when now at present what we receiving there, only the total outlay is 450. That means elasticity of demand is lesser than 1. Okay, this is the relationship between the total outlay. Demand is elastic. Direct relation means inelastic. Elasticity is unity when total outlay is constant. Okay, point on geometrical elasticity. When the demand curve is a straight line, it is said to be linear. Graphically, the point elasticity of linear demand curve is shown by the ratio of the segment of the line to the right and to the left of the particular point. The formula they given here is point elasticity equal to lowest segment of the demand curve below the given point. That means this only is a given point, below the given point. Okay, and by divided by upper segment of the demand curve above the given point. That means EP equal to L by U. L means lower segment, upper segment is U. This one is U. Okay, L by U. Okay, here we know already EP is equal to 1. That line only we are taking as a constant segment. Okay, after that whatever that means the lower segment, it will be elasticity price is lesser than 1 and at last it will be 0, equal to 0. And in the upper segment, elasticity of price is greater than 1 and at last it will be infinitive. Okay. Next we will move on to the importance of elasticity of demand. Price fixation, production, distribution, international trade, public finance and nationalization. Price fixation. Each seller under monopoly and imperfect competition has to take into account elasticity of demand while fixing the price for his product. When we are fixing the price of one of the product, first we will think about the elasticity of demand, how much the demand is there. After knowing that alone, we should fix the price of the product. If the demand for the product is inelastic, demand for the product is inelastic means salt is a inelastic, then he can fix a higher price also. But Salt, it is only in the lower price because it is used by all the common people. So only it is only the little price. This one is exception. Salt is the exception in this one. Production. Producers generally decide their production level on the basis of demand for the product. Distribution. Elasticity of demand also helps in the determination of rewards for factors of production. Factors of production means four things are there. Land, labor, capital and organizer. These are called as a factors of production. For this, how much we can able to distribute the rewards. Rewards means for capital we are having the interest is the reward. Okay. For the land, rent is the reward. For labor, wages is the reward. And for the organizer, profit is the reward. That means how much we can able to distribute through the elasticity of demand of one of the product alone, we can distribute that. International trade. This one, the elasticity of demand helps in finding out the terms of trade between two countries. Terms of trade depends upon the elasticity of demand for the products of the two countries. Okay, how much the elasticity, that means the demand for the two products. That means, for the product in that two countries. According to that alone, the terms of trade also will be done there. Public finance. Elasticity of demand helps the government in formulating tax policies. For example, for imposing tax on a commodity. That means demand of the product, it will help the government to fix the tax on one of the product. Nationalization. The concept of elasticity of demand enables the government to decide over nationalization of industry, whether that particular product where that means it is producing the demand of the product, whether it we may give the industrial through the government sector, otherwise only by the private sector. Otherwise, if one of the company is producing the product which is very demand in the market, it may be authorized by the government. Okay, thank you.